We are currently walking up to cabin 13.
Do you think you could walk in front of... What the fuck? I just heard talking.
It is actually cabin 13.
I have freaking chills.
We are currently walking up to cabin 13. There is some creepy stairs that we gotta go down. I didn't realize when I booked it that the parking was up there, or else, I would have still came, but now I gotta carry a bunch of stuff down all of these flights of stairs. But I showed up late, so they actually just left the cabin unlocked for me with the key inside. I'm assuming this will be my first time seeing this place. Super excited for this. I've been wanting to come to this place since I saw Paranormal Quest come here. They've come here a couple of times. Make sure you go check out their episodes too after this, because I would have never known about it if it wasn't for them. But we are coming up for an investigation for this cabin, cabin 13. No, it isn't clickbait. It is actually called cabin 13. And we're about to walk up to the door right now to do an initial walk around of the house to see what we think. If you're wondering why I knocked on the door, there's no specific reason other than I just thought it would be really creepy if somebody knocked back. Let's set the bag down and go do a walk around, because I've never been here. I've only seen videos. And right off the bat, it is really romantic. It smells like fireplace though. I'm assuming somebody must have stayed here last night, because it smells like pure fireplace. Here's the proof. It is actually cabin 13. That is not a clickbait thumbnail type of thing. We are in cabin 13, and there was an unfortunate incident that we will get into here soon. Here's the kitchen. Not much to look at right here, but the unfortunate incident I will get into in the history, but insane. It is surreal being here. I've never done a specific cabin with the type of history of this place, so be sure to stay to the end to see what we might uncover. We're going up into the loft area now. And there's a little like twin size mattress, and right here it looks down onto the area. And if I'm not mistaken, in that corner over there is where the body was found. We are going to dive into the history and the facts and fiction of this property. And tonight, I have a really cool idea to do. That's the cabin though. I mean, it's a small little cabin. It's not made for anything but a romantic getaway, essentially. It is creepy. Well, that's what's weird, is it's creepy, but it's beautiful. Like, look right out here, right out the windows. Boom. Beautiful. There's waterfalls, there's a creek. This is a state park. So it shouldn't be creepy, but it feels creepy inside here. I'm gonna go grab the rest of my stuff, and while I'm doing that, future me will tell you about the history of cabin 13. Then we'll get into the investigation. Let's do this. Let's get into the history. Let's learn about what happened on that day inside Cabin 13. This is Cabin 13 in Babcock State Park in West Virginia. What took place in this typically romantic, isolated cabin is truly horrific, and I'd like to start out by saying rest in peace to the victim and my condolences to the friends and family of Cheryl Flippo. It is the evening of April 29th, 1996. Married couple Cheryl and Michael Flippo hop into a borrowed car to travel from Nitro, West Virginia to a cabin located within Babcock State Park. Michael was a pastor. As a pastor, Michael has been in the Babcock State Park area the previous month to baptize a member of his church in a stream. So he was familiar with the area, potentially even coming up with the plan the day that this happened. On April 30th, in the early hours of the following romantic cabin getaway, Michael dialed 911 from a payphone and told the dispatcher his wife had been murdered and their car had been stolen. The police hopped in their cars and sped to where Michael was waiting. Michael was dressed in only his underwear and had cuts on his legs, and alleged that he escaped by running through the woods to the nearest payphone. The sheriff's deputy picked Michael up at the payphone and drove him back to the cabin, where he saw one of the most horrific scenes he had ever seen. The deputy walked into Cabin 13 and found Cheryl lying between the bed and the wall. This is going to get graphic, so I recommend you skip ahead. Her skull had been bashed in and the cabin was a wreck. No life-saving measures were taken, as unfortunately Cheryl was pronounced dead at the scene. But the deputy noticed that there were no footprints in the area around the cabin, despite the ground being wet and soggy after a rain. This, of course, was suspicious towards Michael's story. Michael had told the police that he awoken to find an intruder inside of the cabin. That's when the man knocked him unconscious. Minutes later, he awoke to find the intruder sitting on top of him, attempting to kill him, ending up cutting his legs with a knife. Michael said the man again knocked him unconscious, and when he awoke for the second time, the killer was gone, and Cheryl was horribly and brutally injured. Michael said that he rushed to the payphone when he felt a faint heartbeat coming from his wife. The cops clearly did not believe Michael Flippo when he said that an intruder killed Cheryl Flippo. Detectives claim that there's no sign of forced entry and that the scene looked staged and items looked out of place. For example, one of the rocking chairs was just casually set over to make it appear that a struggle had appeared. And that is when they decided to arrest Michael for bludgeoning his wife to death. During the investigation, the cops learned that about a month before the murder, Michael and Cheryl had taken out a life insurance policy on Cheryl worth $100,000, making the pastor the sole beneficiary. Detectives accused Michael of killing his wife for money. Michael's stab wounds were also clearly self-inflicted to help aid his story of a random unknown attacker, but that's not even the craziest part. The police also found photographs at the cabin of the man Michael had baptized in the area the previous month. The photos appeared to show Michael taking off his pants, which led the police to suspect that Michael was having a homosexual affair. They suspected that Cheryl may have learned of the affair, which also contributed to her murder. But Michael was preparing this for almost a year. Michael was planting notes around the house with newspaper letter cutouts and spells things like, "You're dead," and "I'm going to get you." Michael convinced his friends and family, and most importantly his wife, that they were being stalked and that their lives were in danger. You see, Michael was embezzling from the church, making up stories about teens needing organ transplants and more to scam hardworking Christians out of their money. Anytime Cheryl got close to discovering this, he'd leave notes, stage an incident to distract her, or anything to make her feel that they were in danger. Although he was never charged and ultimately let go, it's believed that this was all according to plan by Michael and his friend Joel Bogus. During the investigation, it was discovered that Michael was having a long-time affair with this very man. The car they took to the cabin, that was Joel's. They borrowed his car to go to the cabin to avoid being spotted because they were under the impression that they were stalked and in danger. Joe initially claimed that he didn't know that he borrowed the car, then changing his story, and nothing ever happened to Joel in this case. Michael was eventually found guilty to the murder of his wife Cheryl and was sentenced to life in prison. I believe he still claims his innocence, and the Supreme Court later overturned the conviction after ruling that the prosecution was wrong to use photographs of Michael as evidence during the trial. However, Michael's conviction and sentence were later reinstated. Tonight, we are going to be investigating Cabin 13 to see if the spirit of Cheryl is still lingering around the cabin and try to have a conversation with her. With that being said, let's get into the first investigation. It is officially time to start the lone camera theory. We have cameras set up all around the cabin. We have devices spread all around the cabin. We are having ghost chatter actually play while we are doing isolation. So what ghost chatter is going to do is it's going to ask questions and it's going to record video at the same time. So if there's anybody in here, they may be able to respond to the questions if they would like to. As well as it'll ask specific questions like, can you touch this device? Can you touch that device? And hopefully somebody will. So we have a camera set up at the stairs with the static box and a couple of cat balls. We have a camera set up pointed in this direction towards the yes/no box and the REM pod. And we have ghost chatter isolation pointed towards this way for really no reason other than I wanted to do it. And the music box is over there. So without further ado, why don't we go ahead and go over here and hit start isolation. Now, my friend Connor Biddle of Paranormal Encounters created this app for people like me who are solo.
Can you make a noise?
So, as you just heard, it asked if somebody could make a noise. He created this app for people like me and him who do solo investigations. It's sort of like a second person. Whatever you hear come out of that, it's not a ghost talking. It is actually asking the questions. It is literally just a second person. So we're going to leave that running during isolation mode. We're going to head out of here and leave the entire building by itself with just devices and cameras and see what happens. So I'm excited. Let's do this. This is Cabin 13. If you're in here, which I have a suspicion that you are, at any point, please feel free to touch any of the devices or make any noises, talk, whatever it is you have to do. That is absolutely fine. I would genuinely appreciate it because I want to have a conversation with you. I don't mean to bug you, but I would like to talk to you. So, when I walk out of that door, you will be completely by yourself in this cabin for roughly 45 minutes. So I'm going to head out of here. Alright guys, we're about to leave for the lone camera theory. And we'll be back. and I won't know anything that happens until I review the footage. Let's do this. I'm leaving.
Can you show me a sign that you are here? Is anyone here? Is there a dark entity here? Can you make the music on that device go off and let us know you are there? Do you like it now that this place is empty? Can you make the REM pod light up to show us you're here? Can you tell me who you are?
Alright guys, abandonment is officially about to be over as soon as I get to the cabin. It has been roughly about 45-ish minutes. Hopefully something has happened. Hopefully the cabin is alive and well. I'm back. Did you make anything go off? Cheryl? I don't know really how to okay. I just realized I have full goosebumps, so I turned the camera around to tell you guys that like I just got like a really eerie feeling and I have like full goosebumps, and then I realized that I'm actually standing directly where it took place. This is extremely secluded. This is about as far as you can go. It is the farthest on this path. I mean, there's the closest cabin's pretty far, which is the reason why he chose this one. Well, if you made any of this stuff go off while I was gone, I very much appreciate it. Now that I'm back, I would love to have a conversation with you. While setting up for my first investigation, all of a sudden, I had this happen.
Is there a dark entity here?
Whoa. I was about to set my camera down so I could clap. Because I clap to like sync up all my cameras and everything. And that REM pod just went off. My mic is recording. Hello? I have freaking full chills. Did you do that while I was gone? Alright, well, I guess I will do the intro now. Guys, we are officially back in the cabin. The lone camera theory is over with. And we have the devices set up. We have the cameras in different locations. And we're going to start calling out to see if we can make contact. This place, the vibe has like raised. It feels stronger in here, and as usual, we have Ghost Chatter running, and Ghost Chatter will be our second person because it is scary in here. We have the music box set up right there, and if you don't know what the music box is, all you have to do is step in front of it, and it'll make a little musical tune. On the ground here, we have the yes/no box. All you have to do is walk up to it, and it'll go off on whatever answer you prefer.
Can you make a noise for me?
On the table over there is the static box. Now, that static box, all you have to do is go up to it and, I don't know, maybe rub your clothes together, rub your hands together, and create static electricity, and it'll go off, showing me that you're here. On the bed there's a REM pod. Now, I don't know if you touched it, but all you have to do is touch that little black wire like maybe you just did. That was actually freaky because there was really no reason for that to go off. We have a couple cat balls on the stairs as well, but Cheryl, are you still in this cabin? What the fuck? I am getting... I just heard talking. But first of all, it's midnight. Nobody would be out here. Second, I am the last cabin. It's very secluded. There's no reason for anybody to be talking.
Can you walk in front of the camera?
That's a very good question. Not only that, but unfortunately, it was so faint that this microphone isn't going to pick it up. There's a waterfall going on, and while you guys can't really hear it, it is happening. But I heard a woman's like talking over in this direction. Do you want... I'm like, oh my god. Do you want me to go over there? Maybe I can sit down and we can talk? I do want to offer my condolences, though, first and foremost. I know what happened, and I'm very sorry. My name is Dawson, I do this kind of thing. Oh, that was the fridge. I do this kind of thing fairly often, where I go and I try to communicate with you guys. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to try to make you feel any type of way. I'm also not here to treat you like some sort of circus act. All I want to do is genuinely have a conversation with you. Do you think you could walk in front of... What the fuck? I have freaking chills. Let's retrace our steps. Let's try not to get too freaked out. That's not me. You guys just saw me literally shaking the bed. You could probably see the goosebumps in my beard right now. The bed is moved over here, but this is where it took place. Are you here with me? If it was me, I should be able to replicate it. Cheryl. Sorry, I'm kind of like freaking out a little bit. Are you here with me? If so, could you go over and touch that again? Just like you were. I would very much appreciate it. And then we could talk about a few things. That is scary. Now that I'm over here, though, away from this music box, do you think you could walk up to it and just stand directly in front of that dresser, right to the left side of the fireplace? And if you do that, it'll just play a creepy little musical tune. And that way I'll know where you are and know that you are here to have a conversation with me. In 3, 2, 1. Honestly, I'm starting to get like a headache on the side of my head right here. And I will say that it has been a very long weekend for me of constant filming, the event, everything like that. But I don't really get headaches. Would you like to talk with me, Cheryl? Maybe we could sit down and talk one-on-one. I'm truly sorry what happened. I know a lot of the details. And I don't know what you know about what happened after. Would you like to know about what happened after? If I pull out my voice recorder, will you try to talk into it with me? I genuinely don't know why that REM pod would have went off. I've used it all weekend. Never went off. Didn't go off. When I was setting up for abandonment, I was trying to connect to the Wi-Fi and I just couldn't. And I had that REM pod sitting in this corner right here for a good hour and a half, maybe even longer before I even started rolling with the cameras. Never went off. Maybe you could walk up those stairs and go up to the top loft. Okay guys, I'm going to pull out my voice recorder and we're going to run a quick burst EVP just to see, because that REM pod going off was really weird. There has been a feeling, that weird headache thing that's gone, by the way. And I'm not saying any of that is paranormal, but it's different. So I think we should pull out the voice recorder, do a quick burst EVP, see if anybody wants to talk,
see if anybody will say anything, and then we will continue on. But I think that is the best thing to do in this moment. Okay, Cheryl. I'm going to use this voice recorder right here. I'm going to set it on the ground and there will be a little red light. If you just talk into that, I'll be able to listen to you and hear your voice, which would be very nice. So, if you wouldn't mind, I would appreciate you doing that with me. Once I ask a question, I'm going to leave 10 seconds in between to give you a chance to answer. All I ask is that you do your best to be loud and clear so that I can hear you. Let's get started. Cheryl, do you forgive Michael for what he did? Cheryl, is there anything you would like to say to your sister? Cheryl, are you the only one here? Let's give this a listen to see if maybe anybody was talking with us.
Cheryl, do you forgive Michael for what he did? Cheryl, is there anything you would like to say to your sister? Cheryl, are you the only one here?
Okay. So guys, I thought after the second question that I heard something. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually, there's a mode on here that is voice up, which it basically just raises the audio. So what we're going to do is we're going to replay it without that mode and see if it's still there. And if it's still there, then I can review all of the camera angles to determine if maybe I shifted or anything like that, and we can determine if maybe this really is an EVP. So I have voice, the voice isn't on the up mode. Let's run that back.
Cheryl, is there anything you would like to say to your sister?
Okay, so I couldn't actually hear what was said, but there was a solid, breathy something going on.
Cheryl, is there anything you would like to say to your sister?
Cheryl, I was thinking about going up to the loft. What do you think of that? Could you give me a knock on the wall or the floor or something to let me know whether or not that's a good or bad idea? Give me one knock for no, don't do it. 2 knocks for yes, do it. So we got the REM pod to go off a few times, maybe that voice off the voice recorder, but who knows. And then I heard the full-on talking. Jeez, that camera just scared me. So, while it isn't crazy right now, there isn't a bunch of stuff happening, there is absolutely a couple things that are interesting. Cheryl, I apologize about talking about him. I just want to get to know you. I just want to talk to you. I figured maybe if we talk about it, it can help you. Maybe even help you move on to get it out. Okay, guys, I think what we should do is head up to the loft. We'll leave a camera down here with maybe a couple pieces of equipment, and we'll head up to that little loft area and just see. This is where it happened, so leaving this area may not really seem like a lot of sense, but maybe if we give the space, maybe if we exit the scene, maybe we can get something to happen. I am up in the loft, so if you're down there and maybe you wanted some space, you have it. All I brought up with me is a yes/no box and my static box, and on the stairs there's actually a couple of cat balls. Maybe you can knock them off at the stairs or give them a touch. So what that just said, for some reason it was very quiet. It says, can you touch the purple static dome? Which is right there, which is a very good question. Since that is sitting on cloth, all you should have to do is sit down, maybe wipe your hand across the covers or the pillow, and if you do that, it should spike up and show some colors to indicate to me that you were here. Do you think you could do that for me? Cheryl, did you know about the embezzlement? I had seen that,
Can you make it say yes?
it's actually a very good question that is directly there on the ground. Now you're going to have to get very close to it because that sensor really only goes up about 4 inches. So if you get next to it and you put your hand over top of it, let me light it up for you. If you could make that go to yes, you would be the first person to ever do that I know of. Or maybe make it go to no, because my question for you was actually, did you know about the embezzlement? Maybe the answer isn't yes. Maybe you don't want to say yes to that. Maybe you could make it go to no. I know that we're in the same building and everything, but I don't really feel anything up here. I feel like when we came up here, it's a different feeling. Jesus! That spider dropped down right on my head. Dang spiders. I'm not scared of spiders, but like I also don't want spiders to be crawling on me, so there's that. Notice, guys, how I have walked past that plenty of times since it went off, and it just stopped going off. What was that? There was a knock. Hello? Oh. It was me. Oh, I'm an idiot. It was me. It was the floor. Okay, we are right here. This is what happened. Where the static box is where the incident took place. The bed was about right here at the time. Now it's over here. And right here, it probably wasn't this exact rocking chair, but a rocking chair was knocked over on the floor, and it was made to be staged to look like it was some sort of crime scene, because what Michael claimed was that he had a stalker. He had been planning this for so long, it was so ridiculous. He got an insurance policy. He started leaving notes made out of newspaper clippings saying things like, "I'm gonna kill you," and this and that, claiming that he had a stalker, planting that seed, telling the family, telling friends, this and that, "I have a stalker." So when he came out here and he did the horrific thing that he did, I just saw like that, the light, I don't know, it was like a lens flare, but I thought somebody was standing next to me for a second. Anyways, they came out here and he did it for insurance money, and because potentially he might have been having a relationship, a romantic relationship with a man named Joel, which they drove Joel's car out here for that as an excuse of, "We don't want the stalker to find us." He committed the crime, he ran into town, he called the police, he came out here, and they really started looking into it, mainly because of the cuts on his leg. They were clearly self-inflicted. Things didn't add up. The story didn't make any sense. It was a rainy night, and the only footprints were the paramedics and the other police officer. So he was arrested, and he did get convicted for first-degree murder. But I believe he still claims that he's innocent. And it's honestly pretty sickening for that, because he murdered his wife. Do you care that I'm telling your story? I think maybe we'll run the spirit box for a little bit. I typically don't like to run the spirit box, mainly because the audio, and I'm sure you guys don't like it, but I think we're going to go run the spirit box for just a little bit and see if maybe we're missing out on anything, because the last couple of days, actually, the spirit box has been like one of my best friends the last couple of days. So let's grab that and let's see if maybe Cheryl wants to talk. Let's just run it for a few minutes and see. Maybe we're missing out. So I always like to give it a shot just in case, because if somebody's trying to communicate with me and they're not able to, I would feel terrible if I didn't try everything. That's a big reason why I use a lot of these devices, is because if they're trying to communicate and they just can't do it with disembodied voices or like moving objects in our reality, that's why we try this stuff, because we want to give them a voice, or at least that's why I do it. So let's go ahead and run the spirit box for a minute. Cheryl, are you here with me? Did you make that REM pod go off on the bed earlier? How do you feel about me sleeping in this cabin? What cabin number are we in right now? What's the number of the cabin that we're in right now? If there's one thing you could tell a family member to let them know that you're okay, what would it be? Well, Cheryl, if you were trying to communicate with me, I really do appreciate it. I heard those voices. It was just one voice, but I heard the words. And maybe that was you. The REM pod on the bed. Maybe that was you. Maybe you made things go off during abandonment. If you did, I genuinely appreciate you attempting to communicate with me. That's all I ask. And I truly do hope that you can find some peace. I'm sorry that I am just another person to come out here and try to communicate with you. I was very interested in the story. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to see. I can't help you in the way that you probably need help, but I figured if you go to places and you talk to these people, including yourself, that maybe it can help. It's like writing an angry letter and not shipping it out. That's kind of what I hope I am to you guys. So thank you so much if you're attempting to talk to me. I'm going to pack my stuff up. And I truly hope that you're at peace. Thank you very much. Alright guys, that was cabin 13. That was the murder cabin. The story is crazy. There was some interesting things that happened. I appreciate every single one of you who stayed to the very end. Make sure you comment down below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Let's get to 10K. Thank you guys very much. I have merch. I have a Patreon with a bunch of bonus clips. So, very much appreciate you guys. And I will catch you on the next one.
Check it, my name is Dawson Toller.